Fans, you join us here at Yankee Stadium this fine August evening, and we're going to be having a great game of baseball. The Yankees faced off against the Phillies on Tuesday, winning 5-2, and hope to continue that streak tonight against the Toronto Blue Jays. Alan?
Well, thank you, Chuck. And boy, am I glad to be here this evening. You know, just half an hour ago, I was contemplating injecting heroin into a baby pig to watch its last death throes as it danced wildly into the setting sun. But you know what saved me? Baseball. And man, that's why we're here tonight. Some guys got to play a game, and who am I to deny them? I'm not. My job is to talk about the game for you fine folks at home. I'm sure you're not interested in the whiskey-fueled auto races I hold out of my Connecticut home, or the fact that the pants I'm wearing right now are made from badger pelts that I caught, killed, skinned, dried, and wove together myself using the teachings of my Native American friend, Bob Hanks Spin Doublet.
Well, yes, thank you, Alan. And it looks like with a packed stadium up here in the balmy Bronx tonight, R.A. Dickey from the Toronto Blue Jays takes the mound to throw out the first ball of the game.
Well, you know, Chuck, it's funny. You'd have thought that when my wife left me like that, taking all my children, my prize Lamborghini, and my entire collection of Tito Puente albums, that a man might feel, well, quite down about that for some time. A weaker man, say, you know, like that Mitch McConnell fella, great tortoise-looking fool. But not me, man, not me. I just got straight back on the horse. By horse, of course, I mean gun.
Well, sorry, Alan, to interrupt you there, but what a great hit by Brett Gardner as he takes first base with ease. And now walking out to the home plate, it's Jacoby Ellsbury. He is, of course, the first Native American of Navajo descent to reach the major leagues, and the Yankees are expecting big things from him this year.
And you know, Chuck, like my Native American friend Bob Hanks Spin Doublet told me, the Navajo are a proud people. They're also magic. Not only can they control the sun with their mind, I once saw one of them turn into a possum, right there before my very eyes.
No, you didn't, Alan.
I did, Chuck. It was the damnedest thing. They had given me this stuff that the natives call peyote.
I know what it is, Alan. Now is not the time nor the place. How's about you take a look at the game, huh, Alan? Tell us what you think.
As I look over Yankee Stadium tonight, young Chuck, my son, I can't help but think about all those heaving bosoms out there. Those round, pert, glazed memories stuffed into the strong, defiant pinstripes of the greatest baseball team on earth. I can't help but think about those perky young, slightly brown sweater puppies bouncing as a home run is scored or lightly flecked excitedly with beer after an embrace with an old friend or a slightly unruly dog. I think about those breasts, Chuck, and I don't mind telling you, I weep.
Well, understandable, Alan. Who doesn't love tits? And we interrupt this broadcast immediately to bring you this very important theme tune. Apparently just did it there, right at the dinner table. Completely blinded her in one eye. The last time she'll use OkCupid again. Hello and welcome to the After Movie Diner. Yes, we're back, ladies and germs, and it's 2015. Wow, wow, wow. Excitable. Wow. And what has been happening in the world of the After Movie Diner? Well, big news is that I released an album over Christmas. The jingle for the album is coming up now. You may know him as John Cross from the podcast From the After Movie Diner, or you may not know him at all. But now you can know him as Miscellaneous Plumbing Fixtures with the release of his new album, Catch Up or Don't, See If I Care. Available now on Bandcamp, iTunes, Amazon, SoundCloud, Google Play, Spotify, and wherever music is found. A full 16 new folk, blues, and rock tracks from this bearded singer-songwriter. Find us on Facebook, Twitter, and at aftermoviediner.com. For links to the album and to learn more, go to miskplumbingfixtures.blogspot.com or miskplumbingfixtures.bandcamp.com. And we've got a lot of great reviews for that album, so I'm very happy about that. Thanks to everyone who listens, who has bought the album or listened to it on Spotify. Either way, it really does help. And like I said, it's available on iTunes and Amazon and all over the internet. Please go get that now. Along with it, I repackaged some of the After Movie Diner songs about various actors and directors
and released an album called Them What Make Movies, or songs about them what make movies, on iTunes and Amazon and Google Play and so on, and just sort of put it out there as sort of a supplementary thing if people wanted to pick it up or not. I think actually organizing the album, retitling them, and it being about just actors and directors actually makes it a much more coherent kind of album to listen to if you're a movie fan or a music fan, and rather than the diner ditties, which tend to be chronological and therefore tend to go all over the place. So that went out, and the exciting thing about that is first of all, James Glickenhaus shared the song on his Facebook page repeatedly, saying that someone had written a song about him, and life's a little funny like that sometimes, and he agreed with occasionally you feel like you should be able to blow stuff up that gets in your way. He agreed with that lyric of the song. So that was kind of cool to have James Glickenhaus support not only the diner but also the music like that. That was absolutely great. But along with that, what was absolutely really crazy is I got this email earlier in the week. Here comes the postman, I wonder what he has for me. There's something in his big brown sack, I wonder what could it be. Well, I hope the bills it lacks and instead brings me some listener feedback, or maybe, just maybe, a big bag of crack. Oh, here comes the postman, I wonder what he has for me. So you can write to us at aftermoviediner@gmail.com, and the guy who wrote to me this week was Mark Montague, who said, I'm one of the producers on the Christian Slater film Stranded, and just wanted to say I absolutely love the song you recorded. I got it off iTunes this morning, and I've listened to it about 100 times already. I actually have it on right now. I've got a smile from ear to ear. Thank you for that. I think we should make an official music video together. Haha. Take care, Mark. I also have no idea why the creature turned into the engineering officer. I don't think any of us do. So for people who don't know, back I think on episode 91 or around there, we covered a Christian Slater movie called Stranded. It was one of the ones that James Wallace and I did when we went to a diner after a movie and actually talked about it there live in the diner. And I wrote a song about it called Christian Slater Shut Them Doors, because in the movie, the plot revolved around them always constantly having to open and shut this one particular door, and it kind of became humorous. So I wrote a song about it, and that was the producer of the film about a year and a half later, finding that song on iTunes and emailing me. So thanks ever so much for that, Mark. That's fantastic. I love those kind of weird stories. But it does make me laugh because it does mean that James Glickenhaus and this producer, Mark Montague, were out there frantically either Googling themselves or, in the case of Mark Montague, Googling the work Stranded. So interesting to know that, as Matt Farley from Moten Media often says on his podcast, the Moten Media Infomercial podcast, that he Googles himself all the time and he bets every famous person does. There is proof, if needs be must be, that they clearly do, as two people this week have found my album on iTunes. So that's very exciting, and I urge everyone to go to iTunes or Amazon, look up Miscellaneous Plumbing Fixtures, spelt entirely as you would expect, and pick up one of those albums, or both of them, or just have a listen on Spotify, where they are also available. And we also got a comment, email thing this week from Evan John Cohn, who wrote, great episode, truly off the wall, and crazy change of subjects was the best. Been listening for a while now. Keep up the good work. On a side note, would love to see a Roland Emmerich episode, Day After Tomorrow, 2012, Independence Day, etc. Those movies are true popcorn fests. I would actually be down for that. I actually don't mind the Emmerich movies for a bit of a laugh. So you might actually hear that come into the diner this year. But thanks ever so much for all comments. You can, of course, write to us at aftermoviediner@gmail.com or call us at 347-669-0053 or leave a message at www.speakpipe.com/aftermoviediner.
Well, Gary, here we are. Somehow we made it through here.
What? Where?
We're in the sequel, of course.
Sequel? What sequel?
Well, Sloppy Seconds, the movie sequel podcast. Come on, get with it.
Oh, that's right. Our podcast is exclusively about sequels, where the budget is bigger.
Well, we don't actually have a budget.
Get away from her, you bitch!
But the action's more exciting?
I don't know much about action.
Hey, you got a line?
Sure, man.
Allow me, scum.
Babes are hotter?
Wait, there's babes involved?
How about some of this? So tasty and hard and firm, and it just melts in your mouth.
Do the kills get gorier and more extreme?
Kills? Did we talk about this?
Never mind. So 5 Sloppy Seconds, the movie sequel podcast, exclusively on the Horrorphilia Network.
Because when all other podcasts are through, we're already thinking about part 2.
Okay, well, you join us here in the Bronx this evening, home to the historic and heroic New York Yankees for an evening of baseball, beers, boys, and brilliant movies. Here tonight in the After Movie Diner.
And beads.
Yeah, baseball, all those good stuff. But yes, the After Movie Diner moves into a new area for a new arena for movie making when we cover sports films for the first time, specifically baseball films.
We should just cover sports. Just do sports talk.
Yeah, let's
really get your audience engaged.
Yeah, sports talk with one person who knows nothing about it and two guys who could probably lose me within 5 seconds about what you're talking
That's
about.
the point. That's what we're hoping to do.
But anyway, before we get derailed onto one of those tangents, let's start to my left and to my left. Two prestigious gentlemen
Needs to know our locations.
of heavy set, bearded, great.
Heavy set.
Heavy set.
And the beard's a heavy set.
Okay,
hang on a second. Hang on. To my left and also to my
You're
left.
saying our beards need to lose weight.
Two gentlemen.
What are you trying to get out of here? I've been
Two
working on this
gentlemen.
beard for
I know.
months
Two
now.
gentlemen of prestigious merit and
My beard has body image issues.
and great. Who previously known to all of the After Movie Diner as the Dolorites,
right.
now return as the baseball fanatics.
It's too bad Don never made a baseball movie.
It is too bad.
Man. That
It
would've
is
been
too
great.
bad.
Just imagine the team. Stover as the catcher.
Yeah.
The crafty catcher. Griffith.
Well, we already saw him in Galaxy Invader holding the orb. Imagine him carrying the baseball across the field away to the mound.
Uh-huh.
That'd be amazing. But anyway, we have Phil. Are you going to be anyone particular this evening? Or are you just going to be Phil?
And I'd like to be Bob.
Bob.
A bit, yeah.
Bob. All right.
Bob Serve.
We've got.
Although that's from the second film. But
Yeah.
Anyway,
Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
We're going to do both films back to back. It'll be fine.
Yeah.
So we've got Bob Serve to the left of me, and then left of him we have.
I'll have to go with Yogi Berra.
Yogi Berra.
All right.
No, you know what? Phil Rizzuto, Scooter.
Ah, nice.
Phil Rizzuto. Okay. And I am, of course, going to be Shooter McGavin. So that's who was the guy with the red hair who was commentating the games in the first one?
Oh, Red Barber.
Red Barber.
sure,
I'm going to be
yeah.
Red Barber.
Nice.
Yeah.
Bit of a racist, but we'll move over that. It's all good.
He overcame.
He overcame it.
The whole point of the movie.
I know. No,
I mean, they
completely.
didn't portray that in the movie, but that he, as a person, that's
In reality, right.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to cover two movies that are, their titles are numbers, and both important moments in baseball themselves. We have 42, which is the story of Jackie Robinson, the first African-American baseball player in the major leagues.
Yes.
And we're going to talk about 61, Asterix, which is all about Mickey Mantle and
Roger Maris.
Roger Maris.
Mm-hmm.
We just watched the movie, and I was trying to remember. Roger Maris's...
You're a great Yankees fan.
Their cutthroat chase after...
their heart-stopping,
Yeah.
stressful
They wanted
chase
to kill each
towards beating Babe Ruth's home run in one season. What's the word I'm looking for?
Well put. Whatever you were trying to say.
Home run in one season.
Record.
That's the word I'm
yes.
looking for. Great. So,
Single season home run record.
yes. I will be deferring to you for the jargon. But 42 and 61. Put them together and what do you get? 103, which is...
More information.
Anyway.
If you subtract 39
Yeah.
from 103,
Yeah.
you get 64.
When I'm 64,
Will you still need me?
You could do a whole podcast, probably.
Yeah.
Well, we are doing a whole podcast. You could do a whole series on just movies with number titles. You got
21, that movie with
The
Kevin
After movie,
Spacey in
Seven.
Although they technically spelt that out, it's not the same.
Yeah, but they also put the number 7 instead of a V.
Yeah, which doesn't make any sense.
No, it doesn't.
But there is lucky number Slevin, which also doesn't make any sense either, because Slevin isn't a number. And anyway, yeah, that's you know.
Yeah. Well, that's a dead end. Huh?
I'm sure there are other movies with 2001.
Yeah, sure.
2010.
Yeah.
2012.
That's right, yeah.
Yeah.
See, there's a whole bunch of them.
Yeah, they should have done 2002 through to 2009 just to fill in the gap. And then they should have done 2011.
Yeah, all the other ones could have just been nothing happened.
Just Arthur C. Clarke and Stanley Kubrick sitting around.
Some elections.
Just smoking pipes. And why is it funny we made this movie years ago? You know, it'd be great. Anyway, to the first movie.
It'd just be this podcast, basically.
Yeah, 42, the Jackie Robinson story.
My daddy left us. I was only 6 months older than you are now. I don't remember him. You will remember me.
Jackie Robinson, a black man in white baseball.
I want you to know I'm there for you.
In my heart.
Think about the abuse that he's going to take.
Your enemy will be out in force, but you cannot meet him on his own low ground.
What you gonna do if one of these pictures throws through your head?
I'll duck.
Mark my words and circle this date. Negroes are gonna run the white man straight out of baseball.
This ain't the America I know. You hear me?
If they knew you, they would be ashamed.
If Robinson can help us win, then he is going to play on this ball club.
You don't belong here, and you never will.
Get off the field. Brooklyn Dodgers ain't changing our way of living.
You're wearing me down.
You are not the only one with something at stake here.
You want a player who doesn't have the guts to fight back?
No, I want a player who's got the guts not to fight back.
You give me a uniform. You give me a number on my back. I'll give you the guts.
I follow, I Brooklyn Dodger them. I jack, I rob, I send. Oh man, I'm Jackie Robinson. Except when I run base, I dodge the pen.
I'm just a ball player.
You a hero.
Why don't you look in the mirror? This is a white man's game. I'm not going anywhere. I'm right here. I'm a Brooklyn boy. I may take some getting used to.
Maybe tomorrow we'll all wear 42.
With hands down the best performance Harrison Ford will ever give in his entire life. As which character?
Branch Rickey.
Branch Rickey. And what I liked about this movie was that all the managers, all the people, they all had, like, it was Branch and Happy, and then what was the guy down in Philadelphia? What was his name? He had another name as well.
Ben Chapman?
No, not the manager of the Phillies, but the guy who told him not to bring Jackie Robinson down here because we didn't want him.
I don't remember.
But his name was like Binky or something. They were all called...
That was it. It was Binky. Binky Bops.
But they were all called names like that.
I think he was a Teletubby.
They were all called like...
a racist Teletubby.
Yeah.
There's a spin-off.
But it was a sort of big Hollywood glossy... You know, I was watching it and I was having fun with it because I generally like biopics. I understand that biopics tend to be simplified. They tend to be overly dramatic, and they tend to make a hero out of their leading subject even if in reality we all have faults and flaws and foibles.
Well, Phil doesn't.
It tends, Phil is nigh on perfect.
I mean, his beard needs to lose a little weight. But
My beard's been going to the gym.
Heavy set beard.
I just meant that your beard was
My beard does CrossFit.
was voluminous and joyous to behold.
Heavy set.
Voluptuous beards. That's what we have.
Now I have to leave that bit in because you're going to make it a running gag. I can't edit that out now.
This is all in.
So, so yes, they tend to oversimplify things. And I was watching this movie, and I was enjoying it as a proper glossy Hollywood biopic. Here's this older guy who owns the Brooklyn Dodgers who wants to put African American on the team, even though it goes against everything. But he has religious motives for it, personal motives for it, and also he has this way of doing it where if he says something, he doesn't fight back. Doesn't stand up to the jibes and the bullying and so on. In the end, he'll generate sympathy and people will side with him and people will understand it. And it's all about just playing the game and blah, 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 blah. And I was like, this is brilliant. This is great. This is wonderful. But this all seems like simplistic Hollywood stuff. Nick then tells me, no, it's all true.
All 100% true. There was nothing other, conversations. Probably.
And
right.
What's his name? That got suspended.
Well, this is the other thing we have to explain very quickly. Is there's a hilarious, irrelevant subplot in the movie where, and the only time that Nick says they deviated from history, which was the manager of the Brooklyn
Leo
Dodgers.
DeRocher, right?
Leo DeRocher is portrayed as a womanizing adulterer.
Well, I looked it up. He did have 4 wives, so he probably was a womanizing adulterer.
But that's not why he got suspended.
Yeah, they said he got suspended for a year for
because the Catholic Youth League wouldn't let him
that is not
be the manager because they wouldn't show up in the Catholic Youth League, carry too much weight in terms of finances, in terms of paying for tickets. And
Happy didn't like that.
So why do you reckon they wrote that in if it's not even...
I really don't know. I think it was just to accentuate Branch Rickey's piety.
But he was Harrison Ford to me. I mean, the guy who played Jackie Robinson, incredible.
Yeah,
I don't know his name. Did you look him up?
Oh, I forget. No, he also played James Brown in the James Brown biopic.
Oh, he did? Get on Up?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
I forget his name.
Chadwick Boseman?
That's it.
Chadwick Boseman. Okay, I don't know anything about Chadwick Boseman. I've not seen him in anything, and I haven't yet seen Get On Up, although I do want to see it. As being a fan of biopic.
Well, he was great as an actor, but most importantly, he nailed, like I probably haven't seen in any other baseball movie, he nailed Jackie Robinson's mannerisms as a baseball player. Perfect.
Because you're a big fan of that. You like, there's a guy on YouTube who does all the different stances of all the baseball. Batting stance guy. And you like that. You like all the different...
Yeah, I like that.
No, I'm saying as a fan... You like all the different stances, all the different
you pay attention to.
little things that they do.
Mm-hmm.
You know, people who look up at the sky, people who put their hands together.
Strike a stance more than once.
Robinson rubbing the earth into his hands and stuff before he grabs the bat, having quite a long swing or something.
Weird holds the bat.
Right. Mm-hmm. And so I mean, for me, he really nailed it. I thought it was, it was filmed, edited, directed impeccably. I mean, there was no, like I said, it was glossy in Hollywood. There was no like glaring continuity errors, weird camera moves, bad editing, nothing like that.
No, it was pretty smooth.
It was very smooth. But what really stood out to me, as good as the performances were of the baseball players, and they were very good, Harrison Ford, man. I mean,
that was really something.
What was he doing? It was like. I tell you what it was like. It was like Jimmy Stewart meets your favorite guy from the George C. Scott. That's what it was like. It was like Jimmy Stewart met George. It was a lot of jowly kind of blah.
But he wasn't even moving his mouth. He was just like, well, what you gotta do.
But he was compelling, though.
Oh, it was fantastic. Totally. Yeah.
It was a very theatrical performance. It wasn't a movie acting performance at all. It was sort of a bit over the top. But when he was on screen, and I mean this as a compliment, because it emotionally drew me in, and I was charmed by it, and I was intrigued by it, and whatever. it was like watching a Muppet movie. He was like a Muppet, but like in a really good way. Do you know what I mean?
It threw me off at first, you know. It's like I didn't expect to see that from Harrison Ford, but, you know.
Well, because he normally plays Harrison Ford.
Trying to make
no, that's what I'm saying, you know. You're just not used to that, but, you know.
I've never seen him play a character before.
Right.
Where he's like doing an
Except for
impression or
himself.
something.
Right, but it worked. I mean, I want him to like go back 30 years and now do 30 years worth of movies of him playing different characters.
I want to see Branch Rickey play. I think Branch Rickey should have been an actor.
Clearly.
Instead of integrating baseball, he should have...
But what a phenomenal story. I mean, it's a very touching story.
Yeah, they didn't have to add anything to it. It's all there.
Yeah, and they
Real thing.
really stuck to it. I mean, you know your stuff, so you were able to tell us that they really stuck to the story, apart from obviously poor DeRoche, whose name gets dragged through the
his poor
sexual mud.
What did they ever do?
Maybe the DeRoches are either all dead or they've all gone back to France or something and now own a vineyard and don't give a fuck.
Oh,
they've done even worse things or something. Something.
The DeRoches have become like the Dessards of like they've become like the Marquis de Sade or something, and the DeRoche name is that horrible that they're just like fuck it, let's paint him as a philanderer. Who gives a fuck?
Yeah, they were being nice in 42.
Yeah, right.
that was the nice.
If you knew what really the DeRoches had got up to, you know.
I think there's like a sex act called the DeRoche.
It involves a telephone.
Well, it involves baseball gloves and
and a telephone though, because of the scene.
Nice.
He was lying, and he was played by the wonderful. What's his first name? He's Maloney. What's his first name?
Christopher
Maloney. That's it. For the people will know from Wet Hot American Summer and
Law and Order.
And
Special Victims Unit.
Right. And he was a special victim, all right. A special victim.
Created some special victims.
The guy who wrote 42, who clearly was just like, well, I don't like this DeRoche guy.
Well, they had to kill him off somehow, I guess.
Well, it was Brian Helgeland. Brian.
The great Brian Helgeland.
But a good, strong cast, and
no doubt.
Obviously an important story. So Phil, I forget. Bob.
Yes.
Bob, your opinions on 42?
I thought it was a great film. I mean, I think we've expressed most of its greatness. I mean,
keep going.
Just keep talking. Yeah. No, I mean, like, I think they just like nailed every little detail, and I mean, it's good that we had Nick here to verify everything.
Sure.
But
well, he's done the reading. He's done the research.
Lying. You never know.
He could be lying. Yeah. I mean, but like, you know, like it was like you could just see like how brutal it was for.
Well, just fucking miserable. I mean, there was
you know what I mean? The Phillies manager guy, like.
Right.
Just like all that stuff, man. I mean,
he just spent like a whole whatever it was 5 innings of a game just screaming the N-word at the guy.
Yeah.
And then saying, but then he escalated it to being like, and I bet he's screwing your, like he went on to the other players, I bet he's screwing your wives and blah, 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 blah. Like it just.
But you could also see like the whole Dodgers team, how like uncomfortable they got, because you know what I mean. They're just like,
well, that was what I really liked about it.
What are they supposed to do? Like,
right, but that's what I liked about it is that it. And Harrison Ford voices this later, but when his little lackey gets played by the guy from Grey's Anatomy, whose name I never remember, but like his little lackey guy got all upset and was like, I don't know how you deal with this, and he was like, oh, it builds sympathy,
right,
and that's what happened during the course of that game with the Phillies, was that all that barrage of vileness just built up, like the team ended up being like, hey, fuck it, he's on our team. How dare you talk to one of our team? Like, and as a baseball fan as well, the thing I loved about 42 was the way they kept bringing it back to the game. Like, it's not really a movie that is championing race as much as it is championing the idea that anyone should be able to play the game.
Yeah, show it on
if you're
the
playing
field,
in the
right?
team.
Like,
right,
prove it on the field, and, you know,
The beauty of the Jackie Robinson story.
Right.
I mean, you could say that a lot of people think Jackie Robinson did more for race relations than Martin Luther King, even just because the people know baseball.
Right.
So that they were able to see, wow, this guy can really play, even though it shouldn't have to come to that. That's what people. That's what.
But that's what I said when we were watching the movie, and I think when Robinson really breaks down, I think it's during that Phillies game, and Ford comes to him and says, you really need to do this, and it's really important that you do this, and you have to keep going out there. Obviously, being a big Trek fan. Nichelle Nichols, who plays Uhura on the original series Star Trek and then in the movies, she was told by Martin Luther King, or this is certainly the story she tells, that after the first few episodes she didn't want to be on the show anymore. She was so silly, it wasn't her kind of thing. And also that show is famous for having like big egos at the center of it, and Shatner and Nimoy and people who didn't necessarily make the rest of the cast feel as welcome. According to the rest of the cast, who knows? It's all conjecture. Yeah. But Martin Luther King was like, you don't understand. When you tune into that TV show, you're on the bridge of the ship with Caucasians, with Asians, with as an African American woman. Like you're equal to all these. Like you're in high command on this spaceship. That's important for young kids to see.
Totally, because in 42 is before that. It was
much before that.
Negro leagues or regular Major League Baseball. This is like the first time. There was
the 42 was like 20 years before that, or 15 years before that show even came on.
I know, but that's the crazy thing,
it went on for 30, 40 years still.
Right. Yeah. No, I know, but like the 1940s. I mean, like pretty like Jim Crowy. I mean, it's like.
Oh yeah,
things were really bad, man.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
And the 42 like really kind of showed that. You really got to see, and even like the thing about the Phillies manager and making the Dodgers players feel uncomfortable. Just like with that whole scenario, it's almost like you get the sense that the Dodgers players almost kind of got to like walk in Jackie Robinson's shoes a little bit. You know what I mean? Like,
right. Well, because suddenly he's no longer an African-American man, he's my teammate.
Yeah.
Like, suddenly his color fades away. It's irrelevant.
Really terribly,
Of course.
Damn, that's fucked up.
Yeah.
Well, it's the same thing as like people seeing on TV the fire hose stuff with the in the 60s, the civil rights movement
up in Chicago with the riots.
I think it was in Alabama or whatever.
Yeah,
they were using the fire hoses on people. People saw.
Oh, you mean down in the Selma story? You mean?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Well, that was in Alabama, but there was also the Chicago riots in late 60s. I think late 60s, maybe early 70s, where the police went fucking nuts and fire hosed and batoned people.
So it's it's bad.
Right.
And now here we are today. We know it's bad, as we've said.
But it's still
bad.
It's still, and that's the insane. I think that's the thing that I find so disconcerting is that it's still going on and that it's still a thing and it's still And I got the same feeling after I finished Selma. Although obviously 42 is a certainly more upbeat story and a certainly more positive story. When I finished watching Selma, like the saddest thing is that any of that footage. That particular civil rights movement, although it was very sad and tragic footage, were able to use to their advantage because it became front page news around the world. The bridge beating, the Bloody Sunday bridge beating that happens in Selma, Alabama, became front page news, and it forced Johnson's hand. Or the film says that there's been a lot of discussion after the movie that Johnson is portrayed bad. Who gives a fuck? But anyway. There's been a lot of discussion about that, but anyway, it's said to have forced the president's hand into like speeding up the passing of the bill that allowed them the freedom and the rights to vote and the ease to vote and all the rest of it. And to see that footage in the movie and then to see the footage in real life, it's and it's the same thing in the movie. In the movie Selma, it's all race. Like people come from around the country, and it's. To do that march, it's not just African Americans. Sure. It's there's religious leaders, there's Jewish leaders, Muslim leaders, Christian leaders. They all join forces. There's Caucasians, there's Asians, there's African Americans. Like everyone, everyone in America who could make it there and wanted to. The I guess the more liberal side did. In the same way that when you see the protests that are happening and were happening around everything that we've seen last year, it was. All races in all cities. It wasn't, just one thing. It was a people, and And 42, like I say, certainly a more uplifting story. When you go and see the Yankees now, it's or any baseball team, but I'm talking about our team. When you go see the Yankees, it's a very diverse team. It has been since I started, liking them, and obviously it has been forever. So,
not enough Italians, though. You really need more
Italian Americans,
more bearded Italians.
Yeah. Well, we need more beards. I think they need to.
No beards. Someone needs to be the Jackie Robinson of bearded Yankees.
Yeah.
Right.
I agree.
Plenty of beards in baseball. They're just not allowed on the Yankees. So,
which is ridiculous.
Yeah. Well, especially look what it did for the Red Sox. Sadly.
No, that had nothing to do with it.
Yeah. Okay. I'm not going to bring that up. But I thought a really good film, and I think Harrison Ford, as funny as it is, it's also a genuinely moving bit. Like when he told the story about, because Jackie Robinson at one point pins him down and says, "Look, why are you doing this?" And he's like, "Well, we just fought a war with Germany to defeat fascism. We should defeat racism here at home."
That's Peter Falk as.
But that's more or less what he was. What he was doing, and Jackie Robinson says he was as pantomimic as Falk is. And he said, no, come on, really, what is it? And he was like, "You made me love baseball again." And Ford wells up on screen, you see him about to cry. I don't know about you guys. I had to choke a few back. I had to.
Sure. You're such a baby.
I had to really. Come on, you didn't get a little verklempt while you were watching.
I remember. Yeah. I held you. Remember?
Yeah, you held me in your arms like the day I was born, like a babe in arms. Yeah. We stroked each other's beards, and it was good. So I've forgotten who you were, Nick, but whoever you were,
Phil Rizzuto.
Sorry,
right.
Scooter.
Was he in any of the movies?
He's the announcer in '61. The short Italian announcer.
Oh, okay. Wow, you really picked. Okay, so
you should have seen the lasagna. All those.
Holy
16 layers. Yeah.
Oh, he was great. That was like the night we watched that Yankees game, and the guy was talking about the Cowboy store down on Broadway and 9th or whatever, where he was like, "I got a really good pair of boots in there." That was amazing. I love that.
Well, we grew up listening to Phil Rizzuto on the TV.
Right.
These stories that have nothing to do with it. He would announce people's birthdays. Holy cow!
So what did you think of 42 just before we move on to 16?
Oh, I loved it. I thought it was... looking at baseball movies, all you're looking at... Well, one of the things I love is looking at how accurate the stadiums are and the actual baseball players. And it was probably the best I've ever seen. And they all look like real baseball players.
Right.
And they nailed all the mannerisms of the individual players and the stadiums to see them big on the screen like that. Fantastic.
Eye candy.
And you'd only seen them in photographs and historical.
To see them come alive like that. That's
books.
Yeah,
I can't get enough of that stuff. I'm a nerd for that.
And I thought the CGI was pretty good, pretty flawless.
Yeah, I never noticed any. It didn't look hokey or anything. It all looked.
I don't know where they filmed it, whether there's some old stadium.
Yeah, there are a couple of old ones down in Georgia that they filmed at. There's one in particular. I don't remember what it's called. But that's where they probably did a lot of the minor league stuff.
Right.
And then the Ebbets Field was obviously CGI, but it looked fantastic.
Yeah, it looked really good. I was really impressed, and I'm a sucker for, we could all tell when we were watching the movie, but I'm a sucker for those old cars and buses and trains and all that stuff. And, if only that era wasn't, like we were saying, a hotbed of bigotry and violence, it would have been so much nicer to have lived in a world like that, because...
prejudice and bigotry, but man, those cars.
Right, but they were, right? These big behemoth, they all look like refrigerator or Airstream or whatever. They all look like big fucking shiny, gorgeous things as opposed to the plasticky crap people drive around in today.
All right, take it easy.
Oh, come on now. There isn't a car on the road today that compares to those old fucking cars. They were incredible. They looked like fucking tanks or...
Yeah.
They looked like
kind of were too.
Airstreams of fucking refrigerators on wheels. They just had... They were just they were shiny and
They were
sleek
classy.
and had color and curves and and grills and lights.
Just want to.
They really were.
I just want to give him a DeRocher.
Right, I want to give him a good DeRoching all over the front hood.
DeRoching.
Good old DeRoche across the windshield a couple of times, just to. That's what I felt like doing. But no, I thought, to be honest, I picked up 42 last year when I was living with you, Nick, and I picked it up and I thought, you know what, it's a baseball movie, it's just come out. Even if it's like a white, to pardon the pun, but like a whitewash kind of story, glossy, bullshit Hollywood thing, it'll still be fun for Nick and I to sit down for a couple of hours and watch this movie. It'll be all good times. I'll pick it up. And it was on sale or something. And because unfortunately, the sad thing about 42 is it was a movie that came and went. Like, it showed up. They tried to make a lot of noise with it, but it didn't really
didn't make as much impact.
Do anything.
Yeah.
And then it disappeared again. And it was on sale on Blu-ray within weeks kind of thing. So I picked it up, and we always intended to watch it. And 9 months later, 8 months later, or whatever it is, we're finally getting around to it. Which is about our speed.
We're not that fond of each other.
So. No, so it's all good. And what I liked about... I think I got more out of it knowing how much of it was accurate. I think, had I just seen it and then thought, that all seems a bit too good to be true, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's an incredible story,
me.
because it's all true.
It's all there.
Like, Branch Rickey being that, like, wise of a person and good of a person seems,
Yeah, well, I mean, I think the number one, he was motivated by money, number one, because and winning. But that's the whole point, is to overcome, bigotry when it's clear that that's the right course of action.
Right, but to overcome bigotry, to prove that it's like anything for the team, anything for the game, it doesn't matter. We're all just people doing what we need to do to get by, kind of thing.
Yeah, but they were. He and Jackie Robinson were like friends for life.
Right.
He was when Jackie went into the Hall. He was there, into the Hall of Fame.
Nice.
So it was
that's cool.
Yeah.
Nice. I hope that Chadwick Boseman and Harrison Ford are friends for life. I hope that when Harrison Ford goes into the Baseball Hall of Fame, that Chadwick's there. That's what I hope. But no, seriously, it gave me new respect for Harrison Ford. I was a big fan of him in the movie. And everyone else was great. And I think that it was nice, like what you were saying about doing it for the money. There was that nice scene early on where they were on the bus and they pull over at a gas station and the guy is going to refuse him use of the bathroom because the bathroom is a whites-only bathroom. And he was like, fine, we'll take our 99 gallons, I think he said, that the bus took, or some ridiculous amount of gas that this big old bus took. And he said, oh, we'll take that elsewhere. And the guy was like, well, either I lose this sale... Right. Or I let him use a bathroom.
Like a huge
you know what I mean?
You know?
Now, okay, racism shouldn't come down to that. You should just let him use the fucking bathroom.
Right.
But it made an adequate point that really people can overcome their fucking petty bullshit if it's for a buck or a common cause, depending on what, or a common game,
or the pennant.
For the pennant. Right. Yeah, and. Although they don't win the World Series at the end of this one, he would go on to win the World Series in 1955.
That is correct. But unfortunately, the movie did not end with the Yankees beating the Dodgers in the World Series in 47. That would have been nice.
It wouldn't. It would have been counterproductive, I feel, to the story about the
everyone
Dodgers.
would have enjoyed it.
Did it come down to that, though? The last game of the World Series was Yankees versus the Dodgers?
Yeah, well, the Yankees played the Dodgers in the World Series. They won 7 games. Yankees won Game 7.
All right, great. So the Dodgers made it all the way to the
they won the pennant. You saw that in the movie. So that they made it to the World Series. Lost to the Yankees, as they would do, I think, 4 more times before they finally won it in 55. It was like every year, Yankees-Dodgers. And the Yankees always won.
If they had ended it like that, they could have like shot to a scene of some, group of dudes like just being like, the Yankees, fucking, I hate the Yankees, because everybody hates the Yankees. So
right.
Yeah.
But then there was that awesome thing where once a year everyone wears the number 42.
Yeah, they still do that.
Yeah, and they've retired the number. No one else has ever worn it.
The last one.
Right.
Got grandfathered in.
Oh, Mariano was the last one to wear it?
Yeah, because he had already worn 42 before they retired it universally.
Right.
So they let him just keep wearing it, and he's the last one ever to wear 42.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
And who better?
Who better? Yeah. But the statesman of modern baseball.
That's right.
Yeah.
Mo.
Future Hall of Famer.
I have his bobblehead, and I stood online to fucking pry it out of the hands of the disorganized Yankee organization.
About 5 innings.
Fiasco.
Yeah, we stood online for quite some time.
We got it.
Nick and I didn't get home until 4 a.m. or something ridiculous.
Yeah.
We had a great time, though.
It was a bonding moment for the two of us. One of many
make a move
that I've subsequently undone with my crass and careless remarks. But let's move on to 61 then.
And
we've all said everything we want to say on 42.
Yes.
61, directed by Billy Crystal, no less.
Oh yeah,
HBO
film.
To his dedicated rather to his dad.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Yankee Stadium.
This is a fantastic story, fellas. 2 Yankees playing in the house that Ruth built, both going after his record. It's great for baseball.
Holy cow!
There it goes! Back to the wall! It's gone!
Maris comes over from Kansas City, first year with the team. He beats Mickey out for the MVP. You're telling me Mantle wouldn't be pissed off that Maris doesn't have something to prove? How about the home run record? You think he got a shot at the Babe?
I think if anybody's going to do it, it's going to be Mickey.
It's pretty amazing the guy can play at all, considering how much pain he's in.
Maybe if he took better care of himself, he wouldn't be injured so much.
It's a tough town not to have fun in.
You can write what you want, Sam. The fans love this guy. They love him.
How come Maris never smiles? He's having the season of his life, and he looks like a zombie out there.
Number 7, Mickey Mantle. It says 80% of the fans are rooting for Mickey.
Well, I guess that seems right, yeah.
Why is that?
I don't know. Maybe I'm not a New York kind of guy, Sam. I'm just some dumb redneck from North Dakota.
As for the M&M boys, I'm told there's a feud growing between...
Are we feud? Yeah, I guess so. It's on TV. You then. Yours.
Well, there's a couple of huckleberries out there letting Roger know they don't want him to break Ruth's record.
Can you believe this? They're booing him in his own ballpark.
Why's it gotta be they've only got room in their hearts for one guy?
I don't know, sweetheart.
You guys are all over him day and night.
A film by Billy Crystal.
You're like a movie star to these people, you know. But me, if I don't want to talk about things and I just want to play ball, what does that make me? I mean, does it make me the bad guy?
There's no bad guy, Raj.
Thomas Jane. Barry Pepper. 61.
I think we need to get my roommate in here, Emanouil, into the thing. Is he there? There he is.
Time.
Here we go, Emanouil.
Crash out, but
No, join us on the After Movie Dinosaur. Please introduce yourself. Say hello.
I'm Emanouil, and I'm John's roommate.
Oh, boy.
And well, I've been listening to a lot of these being recorded, but this is the first time I'm an active participant.
That's right. Look at that right there. Let's move this over slightly. Look at that. Okay, sir. Did you want to run us through then, as you saw, well, between Nick and yourself, as you saw the whole film, let's talk the plot.
Who's he going to be then?
Who do you want to be, Adam? Do you want to pick a character to be?
Which character or whatever?
Oh, jeez.
It doesn't really matter.
You can be the DVD
there's so many great ones.
Yeah. Anyway, let's just go with it. Nick, you start, and then Emanouil, you finish with the plot of 61. What's it all about, guys?
Well, it's about the 1961 Yankees, one of the great teams in baseball history. Roger Maris had joined the Yankees the year before, won the MVP, but Mickey Mantle was the hero. He was groomed from the start to be the next great Yankee, the successor to Joe DiMaggio and Babe Ruth.
Yogi Berra was still on the team?
Yogi Berra was still on the team. Whitey Ford, the chairman of the board. Moose Skowron.
Oh, Moose Skowron, one of my favorites.
All the greats were there.
Yeah.
But
anyone named after a woodland creature, I'm all over that.
Yeah. Well, they called him Moose because he looked like a moose, I think.
Right.
But, so the season starts, and they both get very hot, and they're starting a lot of home runs. The record is 60, set by Babe Ruth.
Within a 154-game series.
Correct, and this is the first year there's 162 games instead of 154.
Hence the asterisk.
And they, it goes on, they get close, and the fans turn on Maris because they want Mantle to win it.
Right.
And there's a lot of drama, and I don't want to give away the ending.
Right. But and how long have you been a fan of sports? So you seem to know, Eman, a lot of the facts and figures and names and things like that. How long have you been?
I've been a fan of sports all my life.
Right.
And when I moved to this great country,
the United States of America.
The United States of America, I was desperate to continue being a fan of sports. Now, sports that I was a fan of, I could no longer follow. So I had to jump on what there was, what was available. So
what were the sports that you were following that you couldn't follow anymore?
Well, what we call football back in the rest of the world.
Hey, dude, I speak your language. Football, right?
Right.
Yeah, with the helmets and the old pigskin.
With the thing that they play with a ball and their feet, that one.
Not familiar with it. I'm not sure what you're talking about.
Football. Yeah. Anyway, carry on.
But anyhow, I just whatever free time I had, I would watch, try to learn the American sports. So baseball was one of them, and then I was lucky enough to later on meet a group of people who would actually go to those baseball games, and that was a lot of fun. Great. I'm a numbers type of person, so they just stick with me, and it seems like baseball, that's all it's about anyway. Oh, yeah. And these records and statistics and the like.
Moneyball.
Yeah, it appealed to me.
Nice.
So
did you know? What did you know about the '61 series? What did you know about that? Did you already know a lot before you watched the movie?
I knew that the record had belonged to Roger Maris, and it was that previously belonged to Babe Ruth, and.
Well, the best.
Then I remember witnessing that record being broken by all those players whose names I can't remember, who keep getting denied for whatever reason admission to the Hall of Fame.
I don't know why. I don't know what they might have done.
Yeah,
probably some weird sex stuff.
Probably
that would be all the steroids.
You have to be aware. Probably got impeached.
You have to be aware that a lot of people listening will be like, I think they're making a joke, but we don't know what they're making a joke about. That would be all the steroid-heavy players of the 90s.
Yes.
And we will be celebrating A-Rod's return in a couple of months.
Yes. I missed him.
Yeah. Well, a great Yankee, which brings me to my...
I love how your tone doesn't change when you're being sarcastic or being normal.
I don't think he's being sarcastic at all.
Okay. Brings me to my other observation about the movie that we saw. About this Mantle-Maris dichotomy, if you will.
Right.
The
nice
Mantle
word. Again, they don't understand that. Talk simpler.
The diaspora. I'm sorry.
No, I
don't know about that.
And the way the fans were reacting to, the loved Mantle, who was, even though he clearly was not a born and raised New Yorker, they had embraced him.
Sure.
And then you get this sort of Midwestern heartland,
surly and quiet
outsider, who is just all grit and work, and he's putting
Very
out
serious.
the numbers, but they don't seem to relate to him in the same way with the heart.
Right.
And
the drama that the movie seems to bring up is the idea of like the press, which starts in the 50s, like the paparazzi that we know today, like all that starts in like the 50s with the Hollywood elite and the Jane Russells and all that, and the Bogey and Bacalls, and they're always snapping people's pictures and blah, 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 blah. And then, by the time we get to 61, it's heavily on baseball, and they're looking at these two things. And it's to do with how the press reporting on Mantle and Maris and the difference between the two, and then the death threats and the hate letters and the crap that he's getting through and all that, how that is affecting him and how that's stressing him out. Like, it's funny, I said at the end of the movie, but 42 was about this sort of very important situation in baseball where you had to have integration and how that would then lead the way for the rest of the country to accept African Americans and all people of different races into the game, but also into society as a whole. Whereas 61 is really just about like
home runs
and two guys in a winning team trying to be even more of a winner, and yet so they create this drama that I'm sure is very stressful and very pressureful and very problematic for the players, but there's a lot of stuff with the press as the enemy, and the way that, because the press at the beginning of the run or halfway through the run, when they're both on about like 30 home runs, somewhere around there, and you can see that there's going to be this rivalry or at least this attempt
during the egg montage.
During the first montage, indeed, there was many montages in this 2-hour movie. That the press have all taken personal bets. So that's the other thing, is like the one guy who's bet on Maris is obviously in his corner the whole time, and then the rest of them who have all bet against Maris are all bad-mouthing him at every opportunity, hoping that he will just collapse and fail and so on. Yeah. So that's like where the drama is created in this story about the...
Yeah. Well, also, everything was true. Everything that happened in this one really happened, for the most part. Except for the eggs. I don't think that was real.
I mean, Mantle fell apart. Like, Mantle...
Yeah, but that was his whole career. He was like that.
Right. Bad shoulder, bad arm, bad knee.
They told the story in the movie, his first year, his rookie year in the World Series. He and DiMaggio were going for a ball. He got called off of it, and he hit his foot got caught in a sprinkler.
Yeah.
And it just ripped his knee apart. And the rest of his career, he was just in constant pain the whole time. So.
But that bit in the movie where he hurts his arm, but he still goes ahead and hits a home run. That really happened.
As far as I know, I don't really.
Interesting.
Seems like it would have had to, if, you know.
What if they put it in the film?
Well, no, just considering like how hurt he was always, you know.
Right.
I'm sure he played through something like that, you know.
He's heroic, one of the great heroes.
He is.
Yeah.
Same thing as Jackie Robinson, basically, what they went through.
Yeah,
well, that was my only... I have to say, that was my only problem watching this movie.
They had the same type of fan support, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot of parallels between this and 42 in terms of the way...
it was tough watching 61 after 42.
Because you don't feel sympathetic at all.
Yeah, it's all right. You'll be fine.
Yeah, you're like a white guy. Not only that, but like you're a blonde, big American white guy.
Hey, listen, Maris, he had a tough go. The stress really got to him.
Had a loving wife, had 4 happy kids, like, you know.
Yeah. I mean, he died very young, like 20 years later. From the stress of the press.
Yeah.
I mean, when it got to the point where his hair was falling out and he was getting hives and stuff, I was like, really? Come on now. Come on.
It was tough for him.
Really?
He wasn't cut out for that kind of
thing. It shows him opening, or he's getting all this hate mail.
Yeah, he got a death threat that said like...
Yeah, but then his hands start shaking and stuff. He's like, you know...
It never really got better for him. I mean, they ran him out of town eventually.
Yeah.
Well, I don't see how anyone could handle that well, getting a death.
Yeah.
No, but
John, how do you handle it with the hate mail you get?
I laugh openly at it. I wish I got more hate mail. Please write to aftermoviediner@gmail.com if you really hate the show. I don't think enough people listen to the show to really hate it.
You need to develop
once you start getting hate mail, you know you're going to...
Once I get a death threat, I've made it. The only death threat I ever got was at ALM.
That's good.
Was at ALM when I worked with ALM in customer service. We used to send out order forms in the mail to customers to see if they wanted to renew their subscription. And I got a corner of it that had clearly been torn off in anger. Like it was a jagged corner, and across it was like, I don't want this. Please die! Exclamation mark, or something like, or will you die? Or something like that. Exclamation mark. Mailed back to the office.
P.S. I hate your podcast.
So I had a death threat at customer service, not to me personally, but to customer service to ALM as a whole, which I had nailed to my board the whole time I worked there, just as a humbling kind of, don't get too big for your boots, because someone out there wants your...
Don't do any more Peter Weller
movies.
Yeah.
Is that the big problem, the Peter Weller...
That's what I've heard.
Okay. Is that what you've heard? The negative aspect of the podcast was that we did too many Peter Weller movies? Mm-hmm. I don't think you can ever have too many Peter Weller movies.
I don't think there are too many Peter Weller movies.
No, they're awesome. They're all good. Yeah. There isn't a bad one out there. Anyway, back to 61. We've got Thomas Jane, Barry Pepper.
That's perfect. He looks just like Roger Maris. Mm-hmm. That's incredible.
This movie could have been called That Guy the Movie, though. I mean, everyone...
Yeah, all the old stodgy guys were played by that guys.
But everyone was played by... You had Christopher McDonald as the reporter.
As Mel Allen.
As the... What's
broadcaster?
Broadcaster, reporter, whatever. You had Bruce McGill as the man of the team. You had Anthony Michael Hall,
Whitey Ford
as Whitey Ford. You had Peter Jacobson as like the negative reporter. Seymour Cassell as one of the old reporters.
Richard Mazer, that guy.
Yeah,
as the reporter who was sympathetic to.
Right. I mean, everyone in the movie is a known thing. Robert Joy,
Peter
Jacobson as the PR guy.
But lots of that guys. What do we think of the cast? Phil, you've been quiet on this one.
They were, I think they kind of did it on purpose, What are you laughing at?
No, carry on.
Yeah.
No, I'm interested.
No, I think, I don't know. It just that all the extras, they came running to that movie because it was a baseball movie, and they're like, oh, yeah.
Well, not that it was a baseball movie, but it was a movie about the 61 Yankees.
I'm sure Billy Crystal had something to do with it and his presence.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
And the dude who played the governor of Shawshank, that guy.
He played the GM of the Yankees.
He played the GM, sure. Who tried to get Bruce McGill to take Swap Maris and Mantle back.
Oh, and even the commissioner was played by that old guy. That guy.
He's just that old guy. Yeah. It wasn't the Babe guy, was it? It wasn't that
Donald
guy.
No.
He plays
but he's played in movies.
He's in all sorts of stuff.
Right.
That old guy.
Him.
Donald Moffat.
Donald Moffat.
Ford Frick.
Nice. A really good cast, really interesting cast. Again, really nice baseball sequences.
Yeah, all the baseball stuff is fantastic in that.
Yeah, well shot. Both movies, the baseball stuff.
More stadium footage.
Yeah, the old Yankee Stadium stuff.
I mean, in 42, they were able to freeze frame what the actors were doing, and it looked like, because obviously, I've been to games now, so when they do that big thing where they show all the clips from all the different games, and you have the freeze frame and the flashing and the music and blah, 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 when they show all that on the Jumbotron, there was a lot of stuff in 42 that looked as authentic as, close to that.
42 is slick.
Like they were they were doing flips and they were doing slides and they were doing catches, it all seemed...
Sashaying and the twirls and all the dances.
Right. No, I mean, I'm sure you can...
Nick, you pointed out that they had a real knuckleballer.
Yeah, they did. In 61, they had Tom Candiotti, actual Major League knuckleball pitcher.
Who did he play for?
He played for the Indians and a bunch of teams.
And what's the difference between a knuckleball and a regular pitch?
Knuckleball, you grip with your fingertips.
And you push it.
Push it.
So when the ball's coming to you, there's no spin at all.
Right.
That's
really, why he wasn't able to get any grips on it to hit a home run.
It's very disorienting.
Yeah. Normally the ball rolls off your finger, so it spins.
And it comes straight at you.
And knuckleball, you have no idea how it's going to move.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is why when you see it in the movie, it comes off his hand. It seems to sort of swing.
That's what it does. Yeah.
Right. That was really well done then, and there was only able to be done because he was a real knuckleball pitcher.
Yeah. Well, and he was portraying Hoyt Wilhelm, who's one of the great knuckleball pitchers of all time. Also in the Hall of Fame.
And how does someone, like a baseball-related question, how does someone like Jeter, who obviously retired last year, big send-off for Jeets last year, how does someone like him, in terms of stats or in terms of play or whatever, line up against those people that we think of as classic baseball players from the 40s, 50s, and 60s?
Pretty well. I mean, that's not the eras are not really comparable.
Well, because the game's changed a lot, right?
But he's a Hall of Famer. He's a first ballot Hall of Famer, definitely.
Yeah. You would side him up against the Babe Ruth and the Mantles and the...
Well, he's not at their level.
Right.
Jeter is the 5th greatest Yankee of all time. You got Babe Ruth, Lou Gehrig, Mickey Mantle, Joe DiMaggio, and then Jeter. He's in the neck, but he's the best player of our generation.
Right. Just a solid guy is how I always got the interpretation.
He was just a very
Consistency.
That's what I mean. Yeah, just like a consistently solid monosyllabic guy.
Yeah, pretty boring, but he had a charisma about him that Roger Maris did not have.
Did he though?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the press always loved him right from the start.
But he was polite and friendly and
just like Phil.
Right.
He just has this aura.
Yeah.
Phil has a very Jeter-esque quality about him, I think, in his own way.
Yeah.
Show no emotion.
Yeah, no major fuck ups in your career.
Well, let's not go crazy.
Yeah. There was that
But
time,
I've overcome them.
You know, where he was playing bass, and there was some craziness that happened.
That's great.
That's not what I was thinking.
Well, what other career have you had? Oh, when you left your coffee grinding job.
Please not get into that. Please.
Okay.
It's too painful.
Too sad.
Yeah.
I liked 61. I think after 42 it was a difficult sit just because...
My only problem with 61 is I think it's too long.
It's way. I mean, it is way too long. There's no need for that third.
No, the
montage.
montages were great. The montages I didn't have any.
No, the third montage where he's like sitting weeping on the bed.
No, this is the thing.
We need that.
That's you need that in like a classic sports movie. Just the like nobody knows, and he's just looking out into space and
he's finding himself.
Yes,
right. In a difficult moment.
You need that cheesy thing to happen, but there were too many conversations between him and Mickey Mantle, just kind of rehashing the same thing. Like, I don't know,
yeah,
Mickey.
Those guys just sitting around and like being roommates or whatever. Did that really happen? I mean,
well, they were roommates, so they probably had all sorts of stupid conversations. But we didn't really need to.
But we
there needed to be more Bob.
The third wheel.
Yeah.
Bob
kind of
served.
disappeared after a while.
He's one of my favorite characters in a baseball movie ever.
Well, yeah. Bob Serve, check him out.
He's incredible.
Never really made his mark with the Yankees.
No,
but
the best bit in the whole movie, the thing that encapsulated it for me, was there was a bit where, in fact, there was lots of bits, but there was one bit in particular where Maris is looking at the newspaper and being like, "Why they write this mean stuff about me?" And then Mantle was saying, "Don't worry about it. They used to write mean stuff about me. They, just weather the storm." And then Bob goes, "They never write anything about me." And I just thought that is the perfect answer because, there are several people on the team. The only two people they're writing about are these two fucking yahoos who are trying to defeat this record, and really they're playing as a team. Like it lacked the team thing that 42 had. Now Maris kept saying when being interviewed by the press, he kept saying "Oh, this guy did a really good job. This guy did a really good job. Talk to them. Like that. That became a theme. But ultimately, the story was about these two guys, and Bob represented how I felt about the whole thing, which was look, yeah, all very good, but they're not writing about any of us. Would you shut your whining up? There was too much whining for me.
Well, but that was real. They really did focus on just him, and he kept saying, "Stop focusing on me."
I get it.
That is the conflict. He was on your side.
I get that the press is scum. I get it. I understand.
But I'm saying the whining was the same thing that you're doing. He was saying the same thing as you.
Well, I whine professionally for a living.
But that's what the hate mail's for.
Right. Aftermoviediner@gmail.com. Or you can send a voicemail to the show if you want.
Very well.
On SpeakPipe, www.speakpipe.com/aftermoviediner. Send us a voicemail.
Rolls right off the tongue.
And tell us why you hate us.
Well, that's wonderful. And then you can play those in the next...
that's exactly how it works.
You can play your favorite ones.
Speakpipe.com/aftermoviediner. You get 90 seconds to say whatever you want about the show. Go do it. That's what I would urge everyone to do.
So it can be good too.
Yeah, it can be whatever you want.
It won't be good, but it could be.
The telephone number is 347-669-0053. You can leave a voicemail as long as you like, and I can play it on the show. 347-669-0053. Call the After Movie Diner. Write us at aftermoviediner@gmail.com.
Do you have a jingle? You should have a jingle. 347-669. See, I don't even remember the number. There's no jingle.
You need a jingle.
347-669-0053.
Salino and Barnes.
We are turning
800-621-2020.
But that's not the number anymore.
Well,
the number now is like 888-8888.
Oh yeah. No, you know what? I think that's what it is up in like Rochester, where they're from.
No, they announced it on the radio here.
In the old number.
Whenever I've seen Salino and Barnes on TV here, it's always like 88888, and I'm like, that's miserable. It's all eight.
They're scary looking.
And then you've got that horrible the limo cab thing, which is all 7.
666.
666, yeah, which is like, we are the devil, 666, 666, 6.
They'll sell you a mattress too.
Yeah.
I played a gig with a chorale out of Long Island, and the address was
with a what out of Long Island?
Like a big choir.
Oh, a choral.
Whatever.
Okay, not like a chorale.
Anyway,
it wasn't like cowboys and cattle.
It was at a church.
A coral reef.
No, never mind. No, it was at a church. The church's address was 666 Alvin Avenue.
The church's address was 666.
Get that.
Was there a guy with really long fingernails peeling an egg?
Yeah.
Yes.
Anyone get that reference?
No.
Angel Heart. Come on.
Ooh,
people.
Angel Heart.
I played for a fundraiser recently, and they had a raffle thing going on right before we played.
Yeah.
And the winning ticket number was 666.
Yes. Wow.
Yeah.
The number of the beast.
Yes.
Did the guy come up? Did he have long fingernails? Was he peeling an egg?
That's what we were expecting.
Right.
Like lightning. Yeah.
In fact, we even. This is a separate thing, but we thought that he would be in attendance at that thing.
What, the Lucifer?
Yes.
Would be in attendance.
And then that number was read.
Right.
And somehow it all came together.
Who was it?
But this is just an aside.
Who picked up the ticket in the end?
We don't know.
You didn't get to see him?
No.
He didn't have a little V-shaped goatee beard or horns?
I would like to imagine that he did.
Yeah.
And I bet he was very eloquently spoken, probably had like a thick Kelsey Grammer style accent.
Yes.
Slick back black hair and a ponytail, looked something like Steven Seagal, only thinner. And had like a little goatee, a cape.
Yep.
Right. Had slightly reddish tone to his skin.
Yeah,
and a
nice little skinny red tie.
Yeah, almost like a bolo tie.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Hicks wear. Or cowboy record executives. They always wear bolo ties in movies, don't they?
Oh, yeah.
Like Memphis record executives, they always wear the bolo tie with the big Stetson.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You should see my collection of bolo ties.
Have you got a collection of bolo ties? Phil, why have you never brought your collection of bolo ties around to my boat? Dude, bring them around. I want to wear them. I've never worn a bolo tie in the whole history of my life.
Amazing.
There was a Western store in Vegas that we went into. There was like Western themed clothing.
Oh man!
And I was just in heaven. I would have worn all of it if I had the money.
You should have seen this
It's
place.
expensive though. Like those studded shirts and shit. It's really
they're all made of leather too, right?
No. This was just regular cotton shirts, but they had like the embroidery and the studs. And
when Old Time Musketry, the band I'm in, by the way.
Working on their second album right now.
Yeah.
I pimped your last album, dude. I did pimp it on the show.
All right, thank you.
Yeah.
There's another one coming right up. But yeah, we played in Philadelphia a couple years ago, and right across from where we played was this huge Western store.
Right.
But everything was made of leather. I mean, it was like...
Well, that's like the one downtown. The one that they were talking about when we were watching the baseball.
You know...
The one on Broadway. There's one on Broadway.
Red leather pants and with like studs and everything.
Yeah. The one in New York, down in Soho on Broadway, it's all leather and wood. It's all like wooden shit and leather shit. That's all it is. There's no like proper old style saloon shirts. It's all this particular
And I love
thing.
that scene in 61 with the cowboy shop on the strip in Vegas.
Yeah, that didn't happen. We were talking about something else.
No. Not interested.
Not interested. I have to say, baseball in both the movies very good, and direction of both movies very competent. I think 61 needs about 20 minutes taken out of it.
I would agree.
Yeah.
I mean, I could watch 61 100 times in a row, and I'd still... It's like mythical figures from my life.
No, I get it. And it's like when you watch Walk the Line or something, like, really, does it really fucking matter that Johnny Cash went through, like, drug twice and withdrawals and divorces and blah, blah? Like, does any of that actually matter? No. He, like, made amazing music, was very talented. It really doesn't fucking matter. But I still love hearing the story in the same way that, you know, the beating of a record that is so iconic as Babe Ruth's is an interesting and important story to tell. It doesn't necessarily need all the bells and whistles and the pressure and the press and the hives and the losing the hair and the blah 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 blah. The fact that it's there doesn't bother me so much. It adds to the drama, but it is what it is. They were still great ball players, and that's what it comes down to.
That's all that matters. And the best part is that both movies, the seasons they portrayed, ended with the Yankees winning the World Series. There you go. Important.
There probably aren't many ball game movies that
basically anything from the 20th century probably ends with the Yankees winning the World Series.
Right. I mean, I don't know because I haven't seen it in ages. But like Major League, that's all made up stuff, isn't it? That's not real teams.
It's all make believe. And the Indians beat. See, the Yankees in any fictional baseball movie are always the bad guys, so they always lose.
Right. Lose.
Almost.
Which is ridiculous, really.
It makes sense. I mean, the Yankees should be the bad guys, and
why?
Because they always win. They're the front runners, you know.
Yeah, well, they used to.
Yeah,
they haven't won since '09. They haven't won since I was a fan of them. So I claim that I
think there's some correlation there.
Yeah, I've been a fan of them now, coming on 6 years. A fan, and they haven't won once yet. So people can talk all they like about, well, you should support the underdog. Technically, I still am.
That's right.
Because they haven't won yet.
Well, and any team you support is probably the underdog, no matter what.
Because I'm one of their supporters.
That's right.
Great. But I love it. I mean, I was never a big sports guy, but I always liked movies about iconic times. I think that's the other thing. The thing that 61 lacked, and probably due to its budget, that 42 really had was that sense of era. Like 42 really had a sense of the time it was made in, whereas 61, yeah, the apartment was decorated. So what I mean is there was a lot of indoor shots because they couldn't go out and recreate street scenes. They didn't have the luxury of CGI.
Yeah, but I think everything was. I don't think there was anything that was like glaringly not of the era.
No, there wasn't anything that was. But you don't get a sense of, unless you see cars going by, or unless you see cities looking different.
Yeah,
you don't really get
like
a sense.
a neighborhood kind of scene.
Yeah.
Well, you got the Times Square.
There was a parking lot scene with all those some nice
yeah, but for
cars
Times
and
Square they
Yankees
just
parking
used.
lot. But in the end, that movie is not what it's about.
Right.
It's all about the era, obviously. With
no, but I mean, as a non-sports fan, prior to me moving to the States, as a non-sports fan, very often I would watch these movies as much about that, the era and what was going on, and like something, for example, like 42. If you're a non-sports fan, is as relevant. Like you can watch that without knowing how baseball works or whatever, to some extent. You won't get as much of a joy out of it that we did, but you can watch it because of the era, because of the civil rights, because of the message of the movie, because of the acting. There's a lot in it. Whereas 61 is specifically about a baseball thing and an iconic moment in baseball history off the back of another iconic moment in baseball history and in American history. So that there's not so much... Because of the budget, there's not so much to lock you into the era as there is so much the game itself. Do you know what I mean, Nick? Or?
No, I actually got a pretty good sense of early '60s from the movie.
Right? Okay.
I mean, none of the social stuff going on at the time, but
that's what I mean. There's nothing to like feed you. If you're a non-sports fan, what are you taking away from the movie?
The scenery, the setting, everything. So.
Right. I mean, you saw the casinos and you saw the...
Actually, I think if you were a non-sports fan, you might enjoy it a little more because it's all about the drama of the conversation of the two people. Whereas I'm watching it, I'm like, all right, let's get back to the ballpark.
Yeah, right.
I guess so.
I think 61 is specifically, it's like enclosed in the stadium almost, you know what I mean?
Right.
Whereas 42, you know, you
well, they're traveling around. You see
No, but you see like... you know, you see like what was happening in the country. Kind of, you get a sense of that.
Right.
Too. You know what I mean? Like where
well,
like,
it's also more of a international themed storyline because it's talking about civil rights. Whereas
right.
The second one's talking about a game.
Yeah.
Which tends to be quintessentially American, despite there being baseball leagues elsewhere.
Mm-hmm.
It tends to be an American story. And who we choose to be our heroes, you know what I mean? And whereas something like music, if it's a Johnny Cash biopic or an Elvis biopic or a James Brown biopic, anyone can kind of latch into music. Not anyone can latch into baseball, unless you're already a fan. That's what I mean. About the two movies. I still love both movies. I don't think that there's either movie put a foot wrong. I just think 61 was a bit long. That's really the conclusion I came to.
I don't disagree.
Did you have any ending points, Emmanuel?
I mean, obviously I only saw 61.
Right.
But I like that they made it personal, about those two guys, and I don't know if that was really the story, but they seem to be very friendly and supportive of one another.
Just like us here on this podcast.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's all about the teamwork.
That's right.
Except Phil.
We're all just going out here trying to make the best podcast we can,
Yeah.
Just taking it one sentence at a time.
Yep.
I agree.
Answering questions. Obviously I'm getting all the glory, but
right.
I just want to focus on the team.
Sure.
I don't want to.
Right.
You are the Mickey Mantle of this podcast.
Yeah, I don't want the light to shine too brightly on me.
Right.
I know it does for obvious reasons, but...
Who's the Roger Maris then of this podcast?
Probably Phil, I would say.
I was going to say Emmanuel, because I just don't see him coming, and then here he is, and everything he said is to the point.
Yeah. But he's boring.
He's boring?
Yeah. Just not flashy.
Yeah. Just hit him. It's just smack him one.
That's okay.
I
can be gracious about this one.
Yeah. So, what do you, Emmanuel? Do you watch movies like this very often? Are you a sports movie guy, or do you like escapism movies more?
I mean, I enjoy that. I don't watch sports movies that much, but I did enjoy the portrayal of the personalities,
the characters
in this one. Yeah, the characters in there.
Because you haven't been on the show before, if you're going to put a movie in, just give us a couple of your desert island movies, the ones that you will take with you when you go. I know you're not I know you love your music and everything, but what's your desert island movies?
Oh, geez, well, I don't know about desert island. I have to think about it, but my movie choices generally depend on my mood at the time. I'll watch a Jason Statham movie anytime.
Right.
That's
good
fine.
man.
Just
good man.
Nice.
It's how our house dynamic works.
Knows the audience.
Yeah, he does. He knows the audience well.
But then I'd go for something, a little more, shall we say, layered,
thoughtful, academic. You're an intelligent man. So you might want something a little more dramatic, a little more...
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But even something about compromise. I do have a childhood memory of seeing Terminator 2 on the big screen.
Damn right he does. Who doesn't? Who doesn't have a childhood?
And oh my God.
Yeah.
I still remember the day.
But I'm not just about the action. I like the thoughtful too,
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot to be said for Jason Statham's Killer Elite. There's some truth there. There's some reality there. There's some thoughtfulness in that storyline. Along with some kick-ass fucking action. Anyway, Nick, the two movies tonight, any closing statements?
No, I just really... I think they're both in my top 10 baseball movies. 42 I hadn't seen before, so I think that moves into my...
Wow, that moves into your top 10 already?
Top 5, yeah.
What are your top 5?
Whew. Let's see. got Bad News Bears.
Right.
That might be number one.
That's a classic. That's a quintessential. Right.
You can't get away with making movies like that anymore. Major League is obviously there.
We need to do the Major League movies. I think that's the next thing we tackle.
Yeah, I'm down with that.
Good.
I mean, I love. Phil and I were just talking about League of Their Own.
League of Their Own.
That's a great one.
Yeah. Is that in your top 5 then?
Yeah, I mean, it's up there.
Okay.
The Natural. I mean, I love Field of Dreams too. I love all the cheesy ones, all the like melodramatic. I love all those. I'd say I love all of them. I love the stupid, funny ones.
This is way more than 5, but keep going.
Yeah, well, what the hell do you want from me? I love 61 because it's about the Yankees.
Those damn Yankees.
I don't think I've ever seen Damn Yankees.
Huh.
Funnily enough.
Okay.
I like Pride of the Yankees. That's a good one. Old chestnut.
Sure.
Old classic.
Sandalot Kids.
Oh, I like the Sandalot a lot. Yeah,
that's a good one.
Oh, see, I didn't even know that there were this many baseball movies.
Oh, there.
There's tons.
A couple hundred.
Tons and tons. And what's your big dream is to do a horror movie in a baseball stadium?
Yeah, that still needs to be done. Probably at the All-Star Game. A slasher set at the Major League All-Star Game.
Yeah. Well, you're the guy to do it, dude. I mean, seriously.
I've got all the resources and the history of making movies.
Listen, we can all help. We can all help with the making of the movie.
Perfect.
I'm saying
the 4 of us could probably really throw something professional in.
Well, we live pretty close to Yankee Stadium, so I'm sure we could make that happen.
Just got to break in.
Get all the All-Stars together for the game. Would you use... this is a question. Would you use real baseball players?
That's the dream.
Or would you cast actors as...
No.
Would you use real baseball players? Would you cast actors as existing baseball players? Or would you cast actors as fictitious baseball players within a fictitious...
Cast actors as existing baseball players. Because that's the most fun part, is the casting. Who's going to play Derek Jeter? Who's going to play A-Rod? Because A-Rod has to be the villain. He has to be the killer at the end of the...
Dressed as a centaur.
Or he's set up to be the killer the whole time, but then it turns out in the end he's actually...
And it's really Nick Swisher who fucked off to Ohio and defeated us all.
I miss Swish.
I do miss Swish. Nick, Phil, finally, as you're looking at your phone, which
I'm checking because there's this film I remember watching the trailer for it, a baseball film called Battlefield Baseball.
That's the one I was trying to think of.
Okay.
Is that the Scientologist baseball movie? Nice. With like an 8-foot tall John Travolta with dreadlocks? Nice.
Anyway,
he wins the World Series by getting Cthulhu to eat a fish or something.
Wow.
What is... I don't know.
Sounds beautiful. Can you watch that right now?
Zard comes down from the planet Krypton and eats all the herring. So Phil,
all right.
Okay.
First, your 2 movies. What did you think of the 2 movies?
Oh.
And secondly, your all-time favorite sports movies.
Well, what did I like about the 2? I think I like the baseball footage in 42 slightly better than 61, even though they both focus specifically on, Jackie Robinson and then Maris and Mantle. But I think, I don't know, I just like the way the plays played out in 42. Watching both these films more than anything, I think, they're great films, I enjoy them, but now I just want to watch baseball.
Right.
And it's like, January still, so.
Right.
But, I can always watch archive games, MLB.com. YouTube, yeah.
I've spent many a night just watching baseball on YouTube for 9 hours.
Or all the baseball movies that we've been talking about, Phil. So, that's always a possibility.
Yeah, that too.
Should do a baseball movie weekend, like horror movie weekend.
Nice.
Yeah, that might get a bit much. But yeah.
Not for me.
Not for you, no. I mean, I could do it once. I could do a baseball movie weekend, like a horror movie, once. But I think you would probably exhaust the movies pretty quickly.
It wouldn't take that long. I mean, there are probably, I'll bet there are like 250 baseball movies in existence.
Right.
It's doable. You could conceivably see all of them, and then keep up with it because every year there's only.
Won't they just start to kind of like blend into?
Well, they already do.
Another?
I mean, you already got the.
Well, yeah, even 42 and 61, although they're about completely different eras, about completely different topics, there's still lots of stuff. The media coverage of the game, the way the game was played, the public perception of the player that we're following.
Even
there's already...
Even the heckling, you know?
That's what I mean. The public perception. The themes are already there.
Yeah, well, they kept calling Roger Maris the N-word over and over again.
Right. Alan Tudyk kept coming out of
the fan
dugout and kept giving
throws a seat, throws a folding chair at Roger Maris.
Yeah, throws a folding chair. No one ever threw a folding chair at Jackie Robinson.
Right. Yeah.
Although it was 47, they probably didn't know what a folding chair was.
They threw baseballs.
They probably didn't have that technology in 1947.
Yeah, it was probably like a mace.
Yeah, like a shield.
Joust or something.
A joust. They didn't really develop folding chair technology until years later.
Yeah.
Well, that seems like a good place to end it, right?
Right. That sounds good. That's how we do it. Here on the After Movie Diner, an evening of baseball in the Bronx. Just spitting distance away from the now legendary Yankee Stadium, which everyone calls the new Yankee Stadium. I call my Yankee Stadium because it's the only place I've ever seen a game.
They call it John's Yankee Stadium.
No, I call it my Yankee Stadium.
Yankee Stadium 3?
There's some debate because the old Yankee Stadium was renovated, gutted for years.
I don't think that counts, though.
It's
When you say gutted for years, where did they play when they?
Shea Stadium. They played where the Mets played.
Oh, they played at Shea Stadium.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Mm-hmm. But no, what Syrian conversation and what wonderful topics we've covered this show. Thanks ever so much, guys. We've had Phil, Nick, and Emmanouil here on the show tonight.
Good to be back on the show
so
after
much.
Thanks for having us.
Many decades of not being on the show.
Yep.
It has been many decades that you have not been on the show.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Sorry.
In fact, I can't remember the last time you were actually on the show. Even when you were on the show before, I felt like you were less on the show than you were tonight.
Ah.
That's nice. That's a nice thing to say.
I feel like Erin has done something. She's brought out a more perceptive Phil.
Sure.
I don't know what I'm saying.
The illusion of that.
Go Yankees.
Illusion. Never mind.
Go Yankees. Go Sabres.
Yep.
Well, thank you so much, and Emmanouil, thank you so much for joining us on your first ever After Movie Diner.
And last.
For it's 1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out at the old ball game. Take me out to the ball game. Take me out with the crowd. Buy me some peanuts and Cracker Jack. I don't care if I never get back. Let me root for the Yankees. If they don't win, it's a shame. For it's 1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out at the old ball game.
game, I said, take me out with the crowd. Buy me some peanuts and Cracker Jack. I don't care if I never get back. Let me root for the Yankees. Or if they don't win, it's a shame. For it's 1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out. It's the old game.
Play ball. What do you mean it's over?